Well, hello everyone. We attention deficit disorder, right? A lot of kids now struggle with attention deficit orders, and as a young mom or anyone who has the kid who has an ADD, it's really difficult. So we have a special guest today, all the way from Dubai, Zainab Hassan. She is an amazing, amazing person because she reversed her hypothyroidism and also ADD, and now she's become vegan. So I'm so inspired by her story. So I want to introduce to Zainab right now, who's joining us live from Dubai. Welcome, Zainab.
Hi, how are you?
Great, great. So tell us a little bit about your story, Zainab, before we go into the ADD symptoms and what moms should do about that.
So basically, I was born and raised in Pakistan. So I think when I use this word Pakistan, you already know that what kind of culture I grew up in. It was all about food. It was all about meat and a lot of those dairy and gluten and wheat. And this was like a staple food. But I think maybe I survived a little bit longer because I didn't have many diseases in my school life much because maybe it was a lot of homemade food. But once I entered my college life, my university life in my teens, and of course I was out of the house, and then I was all indulged in junk food and processed food and anything you could think of. I was hooked with KFC and McDonald's, like how teenagers are even currently, how their food and lifestyle is. So of course at that time you don't think that much, but then I got married. I moved to Azerbaijan, and I had a daughter, and that was a big hit for me because when I actually could see that I couldn't play with my daughter because of my own behavior. I had depression, I had mood swings, I had I couldn't play with her even physically because I couldn't breathe properly. And that was like really a hit to me, like what I'm doing, this is not right. I also suffered ADD, attention deficit disorder, in my teens and most of the part, in fact, but I was not aware of it. I didn't know that, okay, what is this called? That was not much awareness, and neither my parents knew. But I know that I had a lot of problem in focus because in school, till school life, I was a very good student, but suddenly in teens, I just couldn't focus. And I have always been a very ambitious person, very curious to learn, but it was just like I didn't want to focus on anything. And even if I want to learn, my mind was not there. I was struggling very, very hard that why I cannot focus. Excessive talking, excessive interruptions, excessive physical movement, all those symptoms were there, but of course I was not aware of it. So it was when my daughter was born and later in 26, 27 years old, I really thought that, what, I need to get my test done and all. And then I came to know that actually I had ADD, and I had also hypothyroid. So for 3, 4 years, I was on medications until I think 2016, October, I was like, what, enough. I cannot, wake up to medicines in my mouth. I need to change this lifestyle. So I was studying a lot in the meanwhile about how it causes, what was the causes of ADD, what was the causes of hypothyroid. And there was the one thing that kept on popping in front of me, and that was the excessive use of sugar,
Mhm,
processed food, dairy,
mhm.
gluten. So I already became vegetarian a year back, but that was not helpful, to be honest, because still my diet was, it had a lot of dairy and of course wheat. So I was just, I avoided meat, but not anything else. So I just woke up and I'm like, what, I'm leaving dairy and enough of processed food. And within 3 months, my tests were normal. I I went to my endocrinologist, and I still remember that conversation. And she was like, "How could you do it? It is not possible without medications. You have a family history and all." I'm like, "I don't know, but you were a doctor. I don't know how I did it, but I did only by changing my diet and lifestyle." So that was like, where I actually, that was the point for me, how I entered into this health industry. Then I enrolled into health coaching in IIN USA, and I got graduated there. So I became a health coach and stuff like that. So yeah, that was a very good journey because I didn't feel like going back, to be honest, because when I saw how I reversed my ADD, I saw improvement in my focus, in my, overall health, in my physical being, in my emotional, mental health. I think that was a big change. And since then, I really thought that, what, I need to give this back to people.
Mhm.
That has become my passion because if if a person like me who was a big time junkie eater, if I could reverse it and if I could go into this path, then I know that there are many people out there who need
Mhm.
help and also who want to be healthy. I know there are many people who want to be healthy, but they don't know how. They just go to the doctors, doctor diagnose them, okay, you have ADD, you have thyroid problems, you have diabetes,
Mhm.
then you don't have to do eat this. Then they go to nutritionists. Nutritionists
Yeah.
give them diet plan. Okay, you are not supposed to eat this. But when they step out of the clinic, they don't know how to break that 40 years old habit. They don't know
Mhm.
what to cook. Okay, if we are not eating this, then what are we supposed to eat? They are clueless. They are lost, just like how I was, some years back. So I really want to help those people out there
Mhm.
who are lost. They want to be healthy, but they don't know how to do it. So yeah, it's just my passion. Yeah.
No, I think it's amazing, and especially growing up in Pakistan, and I grew up in India. You come up with a culture, right? The culture
Yeah.
is very much focused on food and particular type of food, right?
It's
And it's different.
all
Like,
entertainment is food, to be honest. Entire entertainment is based on food. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So tell us now, you're a holistic coach. You're helping other moms or even other adults. I mean, ADD. You discovered ADD at a very later age, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Like you said, in your 20s, but most of the time now, ADD is more like 5-year-olds or 7-year-old. I mean, that's what at least I'm not a doctor or a holistic coach, but that's what I hear.
Yeah. Now I see as early as 3 years old.
Wow.
I have some of my very close friends' kids and my own members of my family, my nieces, nephew, which I see. And there's one major difference. Maybe I developed it late because I started eating those kind of stuff quite late in my life when I
Mhm.
was 15, 16. But nowadays, if you see, because parents have that kind of lifestyle,
Mhm.
so of course, if I'm eating my cheesecake and donuts for lunch and dinner, I'm eating, lasagna or something, then of course this is what I'm going to give it to kids. And largely, I don't know, I don't blame much because I know that there are more and more working women, and for
Mhm.
working women it's very difficult. They pick up the canned foods, the processed food, and they just feed it to their kids. Understandable, but again, I think that's what I'm saying, they need help in
Correct.
someone needs to tell them that in very short time you can also cook very healthy meals for them. Kids don't know, but I can see that all this impulsive behavior, excessive physical movement, fidgeting,
Mhm.
interrupting, and there are more I cannot say it's only physical, it can be emotional as well. But
Mhm.
for sure I can say that if you improve their diet, you can see 80% of the difference, so that you can see it in the kids for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, and then I was reading an article, like a research article, where it said that when the babies are born, newborn babies, and it was in US only, and the babies are born, they have like, I don't know how many toxic, right, that they measured, and they're, because the mom is probably not eating well, and then it's going through the placenta, and it's already in a newborn baby. I mean, can you even believe that? And then now there's no chance, because now the kid after 2 years or whatever have all kind of symptoms what you're talking about, right?
Totally. And I think US is, I don't know, I think the situation is pretty bad as compared to rest of the world. I mean, nowadays, I think everywhere it's like, this junk food culture is everywhere. I won't say only US, but why I say particularly US, because in other cultures, maybe you can say in Italy or India, or especially in Asia, if I say, there's still, a culture of eating traditional food for some time. We are still a little bit rooted to homemade food, or grandma is cooking, and it's still a little bit there. But in US I feel that it has been gone like maybe long time back. So of course people are living alone, and that's easily available.
Mhm.
It's going to Wendy's and McDonald's is just like, it's just like right next door, so you can't even avoid. It's like every 100 meter you will find it. So it's easy, and when people are not aware, so I think maybe that's one of the reasons. And exactly what you said, if mother is eating like that in
Mhm.
pregnancy, you
Mhm.
will. And exactly what you said, I think the other day I was standing in the lift, and there was a little boy entered who is hardly 4 years old,
Mhm.
and it was unbelievable that he couldn't stand still. It was only 30 seconds in the lift, but he couldn't. And I could easily say that he is a swear patient of ADHD, because he was like so fidgety, his hands were moving, he's everywhere. But when I speak to parents about it, they say, oh yeah, it's normal. Kids are hyper these days.
Yeah.
I think if it's common, I don't think we should label it as popular. I mean, we should not label it as normal. Yes, it's common, but it's not normal.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I think of course I do give a blame to physical diet and less physical movement, as well as of course excessive use of gadgets as well. So yeah.
So let's talk about, as a holistic coach, what is the framework that you give to the parents? Most of the time, the parents are probably coming to you with their kids having some kind of a like you're just describing, behavioral kind of abnormality, right? So what is the overall framework that you tell them? And by the way, this is educational session for everyone who's watching or who might watch later.
Yeah. So basically, first thing I tell them to do is to remove every food that they might have been sensitive to, and especially dairy, gluten, and sugar. Because most of the kids' food, even if you go out in a restaurant, I don't understand this whole concept of kids' menu. It really annoys me because my daughter is very very healthy. I mean, since the very young age, she is not exposed to sugar at all. The only candy she knows is a date and banana, and she's quite happy with that. Though I faced quite a backlash from my own family that you are ruining her childhood by not giving her candies and all that. But anyway, so when I go, I see this kids menu. I literally can't find anything. Why in kids menu we have only nuggets and burger and French fries and sodas and juices and nothing else? So it starts from home. So for me, the framework actually starts with parents. I really encourage parents to change their lifestyle. We cannot blame a 3 years old child for his behavior or for his diet and lifestyle. We have to address parents first. And neither I can do this that I'm eating my ice cream every single day, and I'm asking my daughter, okay, you cannot have it. It's not the right attitude. So I have to stop it first, and it will reflect in my child's behavior as well. When I am not doing something, I'm sure they won't do it. They won't do it as well. So definitely, I think I just address to parents that how they should change their lifestyle. And the first and foremost thing is to remove all kind of refined sugar and dairy and gluten from their diet. Yeah, if it's physical issue. But in some cases, again, it is subjective. If it's more emotional, child is behaving like that maybe because due to lack of attention. Sometimes they get hyper, or they want their parents attention, that's why they behave in a certain way. That's a different case. But I still feel that 80% or 70% you can get to the problem by just removing these three things. You will see the change in behavior for sure. Yeah.
And you're also a yoga instructor, right? So do you
Yeah.
also recommend yoga? It's a very some kind of a gentle flows, or vinyasa flows, or restorative flows for the kids, so that they can
Sure, I do
calm themselves.
basically, yeah, there is a form of yoga. I mean, yoga is all about mindfulness and meditation. You cannot do yoga without being mindful. You cannot hold any asana or any pose without, your focus being there. The issue is, I definitely recommend, but ADD patients, they have trouble doing yoga, and I was one of them because I had ADD, and when the first time I started doing yoga, I remember it was my very first class. I couldn't hold because my mind was, it was always distracted, and I'm like, I cannot. Why you're asking me to be still? I cannot be still. So that can be a good start, but I don't think they can do it for longer time. But that could be a good exercise for them, that maybe for 2 minutes, just be mindful, be conscious of what they're doing. For kids, I would strongly recommend, because of course they cannot do meditation for longer time and closing their eyes. But I strongly recommend, there are some meditative coloring books, which is easily available in any bookshops or everywhere. I think parents should get that for kids, and it's a mindful coloring. So you basically focus and you use certain colors. It's very very helpful. Yeah.
All right. What else would you like to tell the viewers or someone who's suffering from ADD? The start would be, of course, diet. You talked about that, diet, lifestyle, and there is hope. You're giving hope, but you yourself have been able
Yeah.
to reverse the ADD and hypothyroidism, right? That's
Yeah.
what you told.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and the third is of course exercise. So what are the steps? What do they start with? Do they start with everything at
Basically,
once?
first we really need to understand that what causes it. The
Yeah.
causes of ADD was, of course, sugar, dairy, gluten, like I spoke about. But other than that, there's not a right balance between right brain and left brain. There is
Mhm.
not enough oxygen and blood supply to your brain. There is a little bit brain inflammation is there. This is the root cause. So what we need to do is we need to eliminate everything that is blocking your blood supply to brain or your oxygen supply to brain or
Mhm.
anything that causes the imbalance between right brain or left brain or anything that is you know giving inflammation to your brain, which is all kind of acidic diet. So that is, of course, acidic is dairy, gluten, sugar. It causes inflammation in your brain as well. So it starts with this. And other than that, like I said, doing mindful things, that is very, very important. And if you're only addressing to kids, like I said before, parents need to change their lifestyle. Without that, it's of no use at all. There's a lot of work. Like they always say that raising a child is not easy. It's easy to give them birth, but not easy to raise them. I think the only reason this has been said is because there's not much work on them. There's a lot of work you have to do it on yourself. How you
Yes.
speak, how you live, your lifestyle, your diet, because they are your mirrors, they are gonna copy you no matter what. Maybe that's why it says that it's so difficult to raise them because it's not easy to work on yourself. You really have to step out of your comfort zone because they are watching you 24/7. And everything you do, they're absorbing in their subconscious memory. So they will become what you are. So I think, yeah, this is it. And other thing is that symptoms that you really need to notice, like I said, it's not essential nowadays. Yes, it's very common in kids. But for instance, if you're an adult, adult person, like how I got it when I was a teenager, you can get it later in your life as well. So you just need to be observant about your symptoms. Now it varies from person to person, but you can have mood swings, you can have depression, uh, inability to organize things. You cannot prioritize your task. You have really, difficulty in, okay, how can I prioritize my task? Unable to focus, you become very fidgety, you keep on interrupting others, impulsive behavior. And I see it in many adults as well. So maybe you get later in life, and if you're adult and you see this kind of symptoms in you, I think that's a clear indication that you have ADD and or ADHD. It's basically ADHD is a more broader term. ADD is more of like an old term. ADHD is like attention deficit hyper disorder, and ADD is attention deficit disorder, but they're pretty much the same thing. So yeah, so natural therapy would be exactly like I said. You have to control your diet, be mindful, remove all the culprit food in from your diet. Now, it can be trauma as well, coming to your mental and emotional side. It can be genetic as well. So for that, we need to address like what happened maybe in your childhood. Something traumatic happened that leads to this kind of behavior. So it depends on various. Again, it's subjective. It varies from case to case. Yeah.
No, I think that's great. I mean, it's an amazing story, very inspiring story, right? For all the moms and all the even the young teenagers, when you have been able to reverse and let go of all the foods that you grew up with, right? We just want to give hope, and we are bringing all these stories in front for all the user stories, and she's also a holistic coach. So there is hope, and with reversing ADD. That's the intent of that. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up today, Zina?
I would just like to suggest that, trust me, I know it's the most difficult thing to come out of your comfort zone. But trust me and believe me when I say that if a person like me can do it, I think anyone can do it. Like I said, I was addicted and hooked to KFC. I had a very unhealthy lifestyle. I survived on packaged processed food. I used to sleep late, eating all night and sleeping all day, that kind of behavior. I did it because I really took charge of my life. You will always get some signs. For me, the sign was my daughter. Maybe for you, it was something else. Maybe the way you feel. But trust me, how I feel right now, I feel way much younger, physically and emotionally and spiritually as compared to how I was at the age of 20. I mean, I was miserable. Maybe, okay, I looked maybe more younger and this and that, but no way. I mean, I was exhausted. I was frustrated. I'm so thankful that my it's just like my entire life is in balance, you know, just by eliminating this kind of food. I got many answers, and I think that's just my life has become sorted. My mind is at peace. There's no more rush, and you know, I want to do this. It's nothing like that. Just you know, you just become like, I think, liberated. I should use the word liberated. You do feel liberated. All this kind of suffering that we have put on ourselves in the name of entertainment and fun and enjoy is not actually enjoyment. I mean, abusing your body is not enjoyment. And when you will see the other side, I know when people say that, oh, this is so boring to eat salads or fruits and juices and stuff, but maybe because you haven't experienced this side. So the only suggestion I would say, maybe for a month or maybe 2 weeks, just experience this side, get out of your comfort zone, try this lifestyle, and see how you feel. You always have an option to go back. You don't like it, fine, go back to that lifestyle. But I haven't met any single person who have come to this part and say that, you know what, I want to go back to my junk life. Nobody says that, because they all feel so good and so alive. And so I think, yeah, you should all try this for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I think you've reached the beach and the people are in the kind of a jungle or something. So you're telling them, hey, get out of the jungle and come to the beach, because they don't know what it's
Still
like unless.
learning. I guess there's still so much to learn and evolve. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, thank you so much, Zainab. I think I really appreciate that you're sharing your personal story, and also giving hope to so many, teenagers out there, so many young moms out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking this initiative. I mean, you're doing a great, great work. It's one of the best thing you can do is to give back to people whatever you know. So it's a great initiative. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You are welcome, and thank you to all the viewers for supporting us every day. Please help us share these sessions. Namaste. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.